Hi friends, on our first ever episode of Spuds and Scones, we're going to do real simple roast potatoes. It involves just 4 ingredients and you're going to use it in all of your dishes from breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So let's get started. So for this roasted potato recipe, we're using 3 pounds or about 6 to 7 cups of potatoes. And the beauty of these, baby or creamer potatoes they're called, is that they do not need to be peeled, which is great. So you just give them a quick rinse, look over for any blemishes, and then we'll just quarter them and we'll get started with the rest of it. Okay, so now we've got the potatoes rinsed and patted dry. You want to make sure they're patted dry. That way they'll crisp up in the oven a lot better. So now they're rinsed and patted dry, and we're just going to quarter them. Speaking of baby potatoes, my husband and I are expecting our first baby in October. It's coming along. So I thought for our first video, let's have baby potatoes, our baby's first video, and it's Spuds and Scones, so pretty much perfect. Right, now that we've got our potatoes quartered up, that's ingredient number 1 done. Okay, so we'll set this aside and we'll get started on the rest of our ingredients. All right, ingredient number 2, fresh parsley. If you only have dried parsley, that's totally fine too, but we're going to use a tablespoon of either fresh or dried parsley. So we want to chop off the stems first. Those are a little bit bitter. And then we're just going to roll up the parsley and we're going to chop it fine. All right, now our parsley is all chopped and ready to go. That's number 2 done. Number 3 is some extra virgin olive oil. So I just poured 1/3 of a cup in here. Ingredient number 4 is going to be a little bit of red pepper flake. This adds a little bit of zing without being too hot. And remember, we have 3 pounds or 6 or 7 cups of potatoes. This will be just right. So right into the olive oil here. I like mixing all the spices together. Next ingredient is 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And the last ingredient, a little bit of freshly cracked black pepper. All right, so we've got our olive oil, our red pepper flake, our salt and pepper together, and we're just gonna mix it together with the roasted potatoes. And I call this a 4 ingredient thing. It's technically 6, but let's not count salt and pepper. If that's in everyone's pantry, we're good. All right, so let's mix the fresh parsley into the liquid. I like always mixing my herbs into the liquid. Then you can kind of do a little dredge with the potatoes and mix it all in and you'll be good. All right. Easy peasy, let's do it. Use a spoon or a spatula, whatever you have here. Get all the good bits out and then we're just gonna give it a toss. Okay, our roast potatoes just like that are ready to go. 4 ingredients. So we've preheated the oven to 425 degrees and we're just gonna put these on a single layer. I put some parchment paper just on I think it's a half baking sheet, just your standard cookie sheet. I always use parchment in it just because it keeps the tray nice and new and it makes sure that it doesn't stick to the pan. And we don't want that. We want crispy edges, but not totally stuck. All right. You don't need olive oil necessarily on parchment, but I just like a little drizzle, a little extra flavor here. All right, so a little bit more of that, and easy peasy. Let's put these potatoes in. Okay, so we're just gonna put this in a single layer on here. You don't want to crowd the pan, because when you crowd it, you steam the potatoes, and we want roasty potatoes. It'll take a tiny bit of time, but it's totally worth it. We want to have them flesh side down. When you put them flesh side down, it's going to create those crispy edges that we all like. So it's always fluffy and creamy on the inside and nice and crispy on the outside. All right, our potatoes are all in one single layer, flesh side down. And I just like to add some freshly cracked black pepper at the end too. I love my pepper. All right, it's almost potato time. Okay, so all single layer, and we're going to put it in a 425-degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes. I just like to pierce it with a knife just to see if it's nice and done and creamy, and just like that, let's do it. And if you're enjoying this recipe, make sure that you hit the like button and the subscribe button, and let us know what you'd like us to cook and bake in the comments. We read every comment and we'd love to hear from you. And that beat means our roast potatoes are done. Woohoo! They're singing to us. Oh, look at that. It's got the olive oil, you've got the brown bits, as you can see right here. That's the crispy bits we're talking about. And if we kind of take one up here, yeah, look at that. Ooh, it's hot. Shocker. These babies have been in here for about 33 minutes, so your oven will vary by a couple minutes, but I'd say anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes. And just to know that they're done, put a knife in it and it'll be nice and tender. And you know they're done and ready to eat. So I'm Transferring these roast potatoes to just a serving bowl. Tonight, Billy and I are going to have breakfast for dinner, so I'm going to make omelets after this. It's like 9 o'clock, so we're going to have a Spanish dinner. But these potatoes are super versatile in that they're so simple. If you want to do like a southwestern egg bake, you could always add some like chipotle powder or chili pepper or cumin or anything like that. If you want them just to keep them as basic, you can put them in as like a scrambled egg in a burrito wrapped in a flour tortilla. That would be delicious. That's the beauty of potatoes, is they go with everything. And if you just want to have a giant bowl of potatoes and watch Netflix, you can do that too. I'm not going to judge. I've done that. It's all good. I have. Extra crispy one. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Very hot. I'll have to do a little bit. I'm very graceful, aren't I? Yep. So what's so good about creamer potatoes is you still get most of the roastiness that you would from like a russet when you put in the oven, but it's so creamy in the middle, hence creamer potato. You don't have to peel it. You got a little extra nutrients from the skin. It's quick and easy, super versatile. It's great for families. If it's just somebody like a couple, me and Billy, we can have it for the next few days. Probably like one day because I love potatoes, but you know what I mean. The link to this recipe is in the description below. It's got our full recipe along with measurements and along with all the other recipes that we have to offer. If you enjoyed this recipe, be sure to click right up here for another video where we're going to do baking and cooking adventures, and we can't wait to see you for the next video. Thanks so much for joining.
Push it real good.